So thank you for tuning in again. I'm inspired Chriselle, and on here we inspire you to look within you to be the best version of you that you were created to be, that God is calling out to be. Get content, I love relationship worship, truly good and inspiring content on here, and a few DIYs. Thank you so much for all our returning subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. You'll truly be blessed and inspired on here. So today I want to share with us on the Esther fast. Why this fast even? I know people take on the Esther fast, but why should you even do it? What is in it, right? I know I've done a video before on the Esther fast and if it works, and if you haven't watched that, you can check it on. But the truth is it does work. But why? Because once we understand the why, we can sap out real value out of something. So why the Esther fast? Now let's have a quick background. So there was a scenario that happened in the palace, back then in the day of Esther, and Vashti was dethroned, and she was brought as the new queen, as the new wife of the king, right? And I mean, she's just beginning to enjoy this new liberty, and just because someone would not bow down to another person, he takes out his anger on an entire group of people, a whole race. So because Mordecai, that was Esther's cousin, uncle, or I think cousin, yeah, wouldn't bow down to Haman, he decides he wants to kill all of the Jews. And mind you, when Esther got to this place, she didn't let them know that, okay, she's a Jew, because she was following what her uncle told her. And so Haman has gone and told the king, you know what, a group of people that will not abide to your rules. Now the king did not look into all of this, because of course he's busy with other matters, and of course Haman was working with him and trusted this guy, And at this point, he now decides he's gonna, and he tells the king, these people are against you, so I'm gonna avenge you. I'm gonna pay huge sum of money and take care of this business. The king gave him the authorization with his signet ring, and once the king stamps something, there's no going back. You know what that means? And so when this news got out and it came to Mordecai, he wore sackcloth. Sackcloth in those days were for people that were mourning. Sometimes when you're fast, you wear sackcloth, you pour ashes on you in a state where you're seeking for mercy. And so he did this, and I mean, Esther's in the palace, she's not even aware, she's supposed to be having the good life, right? And so Esther comes to know about this, and she's like, what is this? And Mordecai says, you have to do something. Maybe this is the reason God brought you to the palace. And she said, and he told her something. He says, if you don't do this, deliverance will still come, because we will do what needs to be done. Deliverance will come from somewhere else. And Esther told him, you know what, tell every Jew in Susa to fast, and I and my maidens, we will fast also for 3 days, no water, nothing. So why the Esther fast? It's one of those fasts. Now let's get this straight. Fasting is not to change God, right? Fasting is to draw us closer to God and get his mind on a matter, or just to know him more. And so Esther says, let's fast 3 days, no food, no water. Us, the cattle, everybody. Now, because this was a matter of life and death, this was a matter of them getting extinct completely. So why the Esther fast? Like I said, you have those stubborn challenges, and there's a threat against your life, there's a threat against your family, your business, whatever. You take on an Esther fast. Sometimes you take on this fast because maybe your relationship with God is about to die, and you just want to bring it back. Why the Esther fast? What is in it? What is in it? Now, when they took on this fast, right? The first day, second, third day, by the fourth day, Esther now goes to the king. And you can't go to the king when you're not cold. And so she goes in. Now she's been fasting and praying. The favor, the grace of God has come upon her. She's gotten direction, because that's what happens during a fasting. She's gotten direction for what next, and she goes to the king, and the king gives her a comment, which means, oh, God has gone ahead ready. And now she goes before the king. She says, you know what? The king is like, what do you want? Even to the half of my kingdom. Now, one thing to pay attention when you're fasting is that you might get some answers that are not really the answer. A distraction came in at this point, telling her, I mean, she was fasting for the people, but half of the kingdom, do you know what that truly means? That is a lot. It's a lot to distract you from the original goal. Now, if she said half of the kingdom, the king would have given her. Is that a good thing to get after a fast? Yes, but was that the goal of this fast? No, because there was a bigger picture. The lives and the destinies of people were at stake. And so she says, no, I want to do this banquet, come with your people, come with Haman, just come and eat. And they came and ate, and Haman was feeling himself. He's like, you know what? The queen invited me to eat. And the king is like, what do you want? He says, no, if I've pleased you, come again the next day. And mind you, Mordecai took part in this fast. And Mordecai has saved the king from getting killed, but this was completely forgotten. So what is in the Esther fast? After you take on a fast like this, just praying and seeking God, he was remembered. That night after Haman left the feast, he went back and said, oh my God, I'm enjoying the feast, but when I see Mordecai, I just want to puke. He irritates me. And his family told him, you know what, build gallows, and when you go the next day, propose to the king and kill him. And mind you, this next day is on the 5th day, grace. What you have to understand about fasting as a whole is, some people fast for these things and they have results 1 day, 2 days, even within the fast, they already have their answers. For some people, it's going to come after. First day after the fast, Esther is already having access, shows God is working things out. For Mordecai, that day, when Haman was planning to kill him, the king couldn't sleep at night. A book of remembrance was open. I mentioned in my note here, I said, you see, fasting, or this Esther fast, there are a few things this fast did. Yours might do something else, but I'm sharing about this particular one in the book of Esther. It brought about restoration for Mordecai. He was brought to the place of honor and paraded. And the 5th day, when they came for this banquet, the king asked Esther again, what do you want? And Esther said, there's a man that has planned and is planning to kill me and my entire lineage. And the king is like, what madness? Who is that mad woman? Are you crazy? What? Who? What? Where is the person? And she's like, it's Mordecai. He's given a letter to kill the Jew. Those are my people. And the king is like, what? That can happen. The king was furious. And when he left, Haman had to grab Esther and beg. And the king's like, and now you want to molest my wife in front of me? You're trying to assault her? He's like, no. And then the king learned that he had prepared gallows for Mordecai. And the king's like, you know what? You hang him there. So what this fast brought, it brought deliverance. This was personal deliverance and nationwide of deliverance for a whole race. The next thing, it brought restoration. It brought restoration to Mordecai, to the children of Israel. The honor that he had lost, he was at the king's gate, he was brought to a place of prominence. So this fast brought promotion. And this was on the 5th day, the day of grace. So much happened on that day. It brought intervention for them. There was a transfer of wealth. Mind you, earlier the king has said to Esther, if you want to the half of my kingdom, I'm going to give you. And Esther was not distracted, because what happens in an Esther fast, you gain wisdom. Because when you fast, you're seeking God, and he's the God of wisdom. His wisdom personified. And so you can spend time with him, and that wouldn't rub up on you. And so Esther came out with subtle, real wisdom, and she told the king, all right, I know this is it. And the king said, you know what? All the estate of Haman's children were all killed. They were hung on gallows, and all of these things were done, and letters were issued for the Jews to fight back for themselves. And the king said, you know what? I transfer all the wealth. The estate of Haman becomes yours. This wasn't what she was going for, but this fast brought this upon her. So the initial wealth offer that was almost going to be a distraction to the initial goal, because of the wisdom of God, she was able to navigate through. And so the wealth of Haman came along that line. And apart from that, she had to go further in wisdom. She said, you know what, it's not just to say this, but can you issue new letters, sign it, and cancel all of this? So she saw this through the end. The wisdom of God was upon her to see this through the end. I mentioned that there was transference of wealth. There was the aversion of evil. So you take on this fast and evil is averted. It brought honor. Mordecai was honored. The honor of the Jews was restored. It brought honor. I said it brought also complete destruction of the enemy. So now, based on what I've shared, of course, you can read the book of Esther and let light dawn on you for itself. There's just so much in this book, and there's so much to the Esther fast and every other fast. Because again, at the end of the day, it's your motive. Why are you doing this? And see, God is a God of people, and anything, any fasting or anything that seeks the good of people, God is in it. When Solomon offered sacrifice to God, and God said, what do you want? I can give you anything. Solomon said, I need wisdom to know your people, and God gave Solomon above and beyond. Because he's a God of people, and this was Esther fighting for God's people. And so this is why we do Esther fast. If you look at your life, you're seeing some things that you don't really like. It's about time to take our time to see God and what is in it. You've seen what happened in Esther's case. So much above and beyond what they asked. They had a visitation as the whole lineage or the whole race, but also individually they had their different visitations. Him and God restored. What he had done that was forgotten was brought to remembrance. Because when we fast, it's a spiritual exercise, and whatever is spiritual, spirits are involved, angels are involved, they are set on assignment. There's so much to the Esther fast. And so if you want to take it, focus on the why. It's not just I'm not eating, I'm not drinking. It's about God. I want to hear your mind on this. I've taken several fasts like that in the past. God, what is going on? I want to know this. I want to know that. And God loves a prayer of inquiry. So I hope this has helped you. If you know someone that is going to bless them, please do me out to share it onto them. And I pray that for whatever reason you and I will take on this fast or any other fast, that God will meet us at the point of our needs. And what more, he will exceed our expectations in the name of Jesus. Thank you. Until next time, God bless you.